All right, guys, welcome back to another interview on Unhinged. I'm joined by Kurtis Campbell. An absolute pleasure, by the way.
Pleasure to be on. Pleasure to be on. Thank you.
I mean, my face lit up when you said yes. I was like, oh my God, your amateur career, your professional debut. I mean, we've got so much to talk about. It's incredible. It's fantastic to have you on. I appreciate the time.
Thank you for having me on. It's gonna, I look forward to it.
Absolutely. And firstly, before we get into the interview, I just want to quickly say this interview is sponsored by SCHMO Bets. So thank you for sponsoring this video. An absolute pleasure. Make sure to check them out. Links in the description. One of the best communities in the betting game. Thank you very much. And then let's talk about some real business. Let's talk about Kurtis Campbell. Let's talk about what he done in his last fight, his debut. It was fantastic. 34 seconds. Nonetheless, something like that. How did it feel, obviously, getting that spectacular performance on your debut, which, by the way, is a huge moment?
I think the moment was just surreal. Everything that just happened, it all fell into place, and the warm-up was boss. Everyone was laughing. It was only good vibes. And then, I got to walk out to a boss tune, a little bit of Adele rolling in the deep. And then, I just done what I do best, just stand under them lights. And, I was just taking my time. I didn't want to rush into things because I know Hackam had a decent striking background, so I didn't want to rush in and maybe get caught on the way in. So I just took my time, and then when the finish was there and my coaches shouted for it, I took it with both hands, and that was all she wrote.
Yeah, I mean, in that 34 seconds, obviously, there's not really much to talk about, but there are some talking points. In that fight, you threw 2 left high kicks. You said the coaches called for that, twice. Is that something that you maybe seen in camp that your coaches wanted to throw, and maybe you seen like an opening?
Yeah, well, obviously, if you're asking all my coaches and my training partners, I have some certain shots that I like to throw, and left high is one of them. And, obviously, it didn't quite land in the fight. It was just a couple of, Hackam done well to block them. But it's something that I'm always working on with my striking coach, Kyle. And, my dad, who's also in my corner, loves the left high kick. So he's always asking for that to be whipped up because he knows how much power and, the speed that possesses through that shot. So, soon it'll land and you'll see someone go away with it. But that time I was working in the camp, the main shot was a GSP jab to a right low kick. So that's that, and my dad shouted for it, and got the finish through that.
The Scouse GSP.
The Scouse GSP, indeed.
Yeah, it was absolutely a fantastic finish. As I talked about, spectacular, untouchable. You were looking really flourished in this fight. You were putting everything together. You talked about striking, and you were coming up against a strike. And you kind of, I don't want to obviously credit to your opponent, but you kind of walked through and made it look easy, and it just shows that your levels in that fight. Looking back on it now, I know you just touched up on it there, but how would you kind of rate your performance, rate that win on a very big stage?
It was a good win. It was a good win to collect, but I'm very hard on myself, and I always believe I could have done so much better. I could have done maybe a bigger highlight reel finish than it was, but at the same time, yeah, it's I'm very hard on myself, but I like to be like that because it keeps me hungry and it keeps me wanting more, and I look forward to every next fight. And yeah, obviously, Hackam was a striker, and he had a lot of I think it was kickboxing or K1 fights, and I was looking forward to it because I've been like the 2 previous fights before. It just sort of went to the ground straight away, and I got me submissions off. But I was excited because I knew I maybe get to work me striking in this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I talked about, very untouchable performance. Did you kind of feel like in that 34 seconds you were in flow state? I know that's like what every fighter is trying to look for. They're trying to look for that flow state, when you're just kind of throwing shots without thinking. Was that sort of, how did you feel?
Yeah, as soon as I landed that first jab, talk about this with my coach all the time, Kyle. As soon as I hit that first shot and I found my range, I feel like from there. And so just like soon as I started picking them shots off and I found he was missing a couple of the low kicks, then I knew the finish was near. It was just about picking the right time for it.
Absolutely. I think I lost you for a minute there, but it's all good. It's all good. I'd love to talk about, we were talking before we went on there, we talked about Thailand. It was a little bit part of your camp. You went out there and you did some training. I would love to know about that experience. I know Thailand got some fantastic fighters. I mean, they're full of just absolutely gems over there. I mean, honestly, it's incredible. So how was that experience and what did you take away from that?
Thailand was amazing, and I've been a lot of places all over the world training, and I'd probably say Thailand is my top, like the top one up there of the list. It was just amazing, and obviously I had the boys who was with me, Connor and Charlie, my main training partners. They come everywhere with me, and we always go places everywhere. So having them there at the start of the camp, and they were pushing me, day in, day out, and when I was in Thailand, I was focusing on a lot of strength and conditioning that my coach from back home here, BS coaching, and Woody in Thailand. So I was doing a lot, and I become like, put a lot of muscle on what I've been aiming for, and then just to train, and the training was just incredible. I was getting taught by the Hickman brothers, Frank and George, Alex Shield. I couldn't really ask for much more. Brad Riddell was, working on our striking out there. Wow. It was just, it was really, really good.
And is that obviously looking in the future? Is that something that you would love to go back to for maybe future camps?
Definitely, I'm going in August. I think I'm going to go back over in August there for 2 months.
You've caught the Thailand bug. I mean, just speak to Brendan Loughnane, a good mate as well. So he's got that Thailand bug.
Yeah, well, Brendan's like, he's basically like us. We call ourselves gypsies, the way we travel and we bounce everywhere. So that's what we are like. And I was doing quite a bit of my training with Brendan. We were doing some rounds and stuff like that, and it's just only high level bodies. There was loads of Russians, Koreans. Everything you wanted was there. It was good vibes, and Zhang Wei Li was getting ready for her fight, and she was out there with the coaches, and to have the knowledge to take away from other people like that and pick their brain on how they see the fight game. It's just incredible, and it just opens your mind up to where you want to be and what it takes to get to the top.
Absolutely. I mean, Thailand's, as we're talking about, it's fantastic. It's incredible over there. But yeah, we'll swiftly move on. Now we have, that debut out the way. A very big moment. I mean, every fighter is going to have a professional debut. I know you've had a fantastic amateur career as well. But talk to me about, obviously, the lead up to the professional debut. I know you've been, as I talked about, you had such a great amateur career, but it's different. When you get to the professional game, it's different. You have a different feeling to it. You're earning money at that stage. So how did that feel, making a professional debut, the pre-fight nerves and everything else that came with it?
It was just another day in the office for me, and I always look at my next fight like it's the biggest fight of my life, and it's the toughest opponent, no matter who's standing in front of me. But yeah, it was just, I think everything just, obviously the camp had trained me arse off, and I've never trained so hard in my life for, but there was a couple of setbacks, and I was thinking, can I get to the fight? And that was the hard part, actually getting to the fight. So actually with the fight and the pre-fight nerves, I don't really get nervous. It was just about the fight was the easy part. The fight was something for me that's enjoyable. And I'm always in there, with a smile on my face when I'm walking out. So it's the... Yeah. I'll just stop that there. So I'll just carry on if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever.
So the grueling sessions throughout camp, obviously they're enjoyable because I'm doing something that I love day in, day out. It's just, obviously, everyone who's around me knows I love my food a lot, and I'm a big eater. So that's the only hard part for me, is just dieting. But big shout out to Charlie Mitten. I've got a nutritionist on board, Charlie Mitten, and he's getting me food just right. And to be fair, I've never ate so well in camp.
Absolutely. And we'll move over to your next assignment. FCC 34 on June 17th against 1-0 Alexis Tsarmantidis. I'm so bad with names, it's incredible.
Yeah, don't worry.
Alexis Tsarmantidis. That's what I'm going with. I'm going to call him Alexis, but I'm not going to say his second name. But yeah, he's Greek. 1-0 Alexis. I mean, what is that? What are your thoughts immediately on the matchup? Have you had a chance to look at him? How do you rate his style, and how do you see the match out playing out between you?
I never really look at my opponents, because I always leave it to my coaches, because I have trust in them and what they need to add to my game plan. So I'm always just really focusing on myself. But I think he's a strong lad, and I'm really excited to the fight because I know he holds that knockout power, and I know he's dangerous everywhere where the fight goes. So it's just very exciting for me, and I feel like fights like this gets me training harder, working a lot more, and like it's the only fights that I really want to aim for, is hard fights where I know when people touch me, they can put me asleep, and that's what excites me. I like that feeling of knowing, like, and I'm going in that cage with another killer, and we're both going to leave it all on the line there.
Yeah, I think this is a fantastic fight, and Star Wars makes fight. And as we know about you, you're all action, you're all pressure. I mean, you got them heavy hands, you've got the grappling, as you've shown in your amateur career. I believe like most of your wins in amateur career come rear naked choke. You're phenomenal at that position.
Yeah.
But obviously, when as I talked about in your amateur career, you finished most of your fights. You started off your professional career with a finish. Where does that that finishing instinct come from? Where did that that I want to finish this fight as soon as I get a chance?
Well, and I think the main thing that sticks in my head over this is we don't get paid for overtime, and so the earlier the finish, the earlier I get to go home and eat. So at the end of the day, I'm not gonna wait around. I'm gonna be there. It's a sport that's viewed, and it's a fan sport. You are there to perform, just like you are there to perform for everyone else. So your performance matters, and what the fans want to see is finishes. So that's what I'm there to give, and that's why you get your profile a lot higher. And don't get me wrong, I love watching a fight where it's very technical, and it's wrestling, but it goes the distance. But at the same time, it's not what the fans want to see, because a lot of them don't do the sport; they just watch it. So at the end of the day, you've got to show what they want to see, and that is finishes.
Yeah, exactly. As a fantastic, what you just said there. I mean, if you look at, for example, on the weekend, just gone, Henry Cejudo versus Aljamain Sterling. Fantastic, very technical fight. That was a pleasure to watch. But if you're a casual, if you only get into the sport, you're probably clicking off after round 2 because you want to see someone get knocked out.
Exactly, it's a spectator sport, so you've got to give what the fans what they want, and then finishes are good. And to be fair, the grappling finishes, I just worked on my grappling so hard for years, but I'm a striker. Naturally, I'm a striker, and that's my background, and that's where I come from. But it just shows now I'm a full mixed martial artist, and wherever it goes, I'm more than capable of getting the finish anywhere.
Absolutely. We talked about Alexis, but looking at Alexis, what I've got to, I've researched him for this interview, of course. Obviously, he likes to grapple. He's got that judo background, as you probably know. Is that what you're expecting from Alexis on fight day? Is trying to impose his judo background on yourself?
Yeah, definitely. And I know Alexis is going to bring it, and I hope he does, because then it's even better for me. If it, if the fight goes further, and then you're going to see where I become stronger. And if we're going into deep waters, I hope he's bringing a little snorkel and his flippers, because I'm prepared to go down there. So I hope he brings it, and I know he's going to try and implement his hands and his kicks. And I don't think he'll get much success on the feet, and I think that's when we'll see him shooting then.
Absolutely. And Alexis, kind of flying over to Liverpool, obviously flying in empty territory, as you may say. Do you think that's going to be a little bit extra pressure for himself? And obviously that, the Liverpudlian crowd, that obviously that's going to be behind yourself. Do you think that's going to bring a little bit more to yourself, and obviously him as well, negatively?
Me, no pressure at all. I'm just glad that I get to have all my, supporters there, and my family and friends. And it's at the end of the day, it's just on my doorstep, innit? So I can play COD until I'm ready to go and do business.
That's brilliant.
But yeah, and I know what all my fans, and I know the pressure's going to get to them with all, everyone being there. We're going to blow the roof off the gaff, and it's just going to be incredible. But I don't think at the same time, I don't think, he'll be too much bothered about the fans. I think there's only one goal for Alexis, and that is try and go through me.
I think I can guess your favourite COD.
Okay, let me hear it.
It's got to be MW2, Modern Warfare 2. It has to be.
Spot on.
I just knew. MW2, there's nothing that beats it.
No COD like it. And at the end of the day, if you know MW2 and you were in them game chat lobbies, that's where boys become.
That's so funny. Honestly, them chats were absolutely phenomenal. I haven't played COD in years, by the way. That has been a very long time.
I can't lie, I was just having a couple of games in ranked before this, to be fair, on the new MW2.
Yeah. Oh no, I haven't touched COD. I think the last COD I touched was Black Ops 2. Incredible.
That's a long time ago, that.
Yeah. I mean, like properly as well. I'm playing, League play. back in the day. That was
Yeah,
phenomenal.
remember that? You know, I think I started off on what was that? Was it Call of Duty? Call of Duty World at War. I think that's where I started off. So it
I
was
think
a
mine
long.
might be, what was my first? Mine probably would have been MW2 or what come. So yeah, I think mine was MW2. I'm only 21, so
Yeah. So yeah, to be
yeah,
fair, so it was quite a
yeah.
MW2. Yeah, that's around when I started. Just before that, because I was sort of the back end of World War Two.
Uh-huh. So yeah, but yeah, see, I could talk. I mean, you mentioned COD. I was like, oh, I would love to know which COD he is favorite. I just knew
Yeah.
it straight away.
No,
But
what
yeah,
me with kids, I was a proper nerd. I still am, to be fair. But like when I was kids, like I had all my mates used to hack the servers, and we could go, you know, like quick running, and we get all the best guns and stuff like that. We were full on blown nerds. But I wouldn't take. I'm the same now. Just if I knew how to hack them, I probably would, but I don't, and I'm too stupid for that now.
Nothing would be coming home from school and just jumping on COD and playing Black Ops 2, playing MW2, MW3. It was a time, and there was nothing to worry about in them days when you're that young.
No, not at all. When you hopped on Transit on Zombies and all the boys are on, and you know, it was just memories from there.
I might have to whip out the PS3. I've still got the PS3 in the cupboard.
Yeah, to be fair, I've got a PS3 there. I have got a PS3 there. I was more of an Xbox 360 kind of guy, though.
Yeah, I mean, I transitioned over to PS5, but nowadays I'm only playing. I'm playing like games like FIFA or like just that's about it, really. That's what I'm playing, but I haven't touched COD in years. And you know what it is? I think it's when people got old. You know, when I went on there, I got older, so I was crap at COD anyway. So when I got older, I was like, my thumbs are getting slower, so I'm going to be trash at this.
Yeah, yeah. Now, to be fair, it nowadays it was always just about kills and that, and obviously it's not now. It's all about, like, obviously I play ranked, and it's very technical, and it also gets your brain working, to be fair, because there's that much tactics in it, so it keeps your brain switched on.
Yeah, absolutely. See, look at us getting carried away. But yeah, we'll move back over to the subject. Obviously, your MMA career instead of your esports career, possibly. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the amateur career, we talked about it. I mean, 5, titles in your amateur career. Yeah, 2 in FCC. And I just wanted to ask. Obviously, you got the lightweight championship and you got the featherweight championship in FCC. But now you're pro. You're 1-0. Are you kind of looking at maybe a chance of fighting for the pro featherweight championship? Is that something that you'd like to do? Because I know there's you might be the only one, maybe quite a few that have only done amateur and pro at FCC. So there's a chance to be history.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't see why not. And at the same time, I'm not classing myself in the same level and the same division as these guys are at the minute. I'm as far as I'm concerned, I'm in the top 10 in the UFC. It's just the only thing that is stopping me is time. So as soon as my time comes, that's where I'll be, and it's just another stepping stone in front of me. These are just guys that I'm just gonna keep beating and all the way to the top, because I've trained with the best and I knows what it takes, and I'm more than capable to hang with the best of the guys in the world. So it's just when as I get older and more opportunities come through as fights go on, then I think everyone will sort of believe in what I believe in.
Absolutely, and obviously, I've talked about your amateur career a lot, but it was a big talking point because you're one of the best amateurs coming through. You're returning pro. It's just a big talking point. I mean, you look at the names that you had beat in your amateur career. Teddy Stringler, off the top of my head, I won't be able to name it, but I know Teddy Stringler. You beat him. Teddy's a fantastic fighter. So you've got some really incredible names, and I believe that was for the FCC Featherweight Championship, if I'm correct.
Yeah, then Teddy was for the lightweight. I beat me
There we are.
for the featherweight.
Yeah.
I mean, both top lads. But like Teddy's fight was good and everything was going well, and then I broke my foot in the second round.
Wow. Yeah.
I just come back and just said game plan's changing, and then from there we just spoke a little bit more, and then that's when we took it down and controlled the fight. Then, so yeah, it was just
Absolutely.
like very good experiences, and at the same time getting put in positions where I've got my left leg took away from me because I can't kick with it as it's broken. So it's like it's challenges, more challenges, and more exciting for me. Obviously, most fighters would think it's a very, very weird way to look at it because, you know, they'd like all their arsenal there, but at the same time, that's what I'm here. When I go sparring, like my dad's one of my head coaches, and he'd be like, "Today you can't use your hands, so you've got to use something else." And then I've got to spar the whole, how many rounds, 8 to 10 rounds that we do on a Saturday morning. I've got to spar it without using my hands. It's crazy, but that's why the team that I've got around me and like the boys, like all the lads that live in MMA and KC Fight Pass, that's why we're coming through with killers. We're all reaching for that same goal, and we all want it.
Yeah, and did you feel any major, changes, maybe major differences, transitioning over to pro?
No, not at all. Yeah, not at all. I've been training like a pro since I was a kid, to be fair, since 15, 16. So it's nothing changes, just smaller gloves, and them small gloves feel nice. You know, it's like a hot knife through butter. When you hit people with them, they just fall. So the amateur padding's got a little bit more, and you can sort of feel the thud. But when them pro gloves get put on, all it takes is one shot.
Absolutely, it's a game of inches. This MMA, it's incredible. I mean, it's ridiculous. The amount of knockouts that we've seen that could have went really the other way. It's incredible. Yeah, obviously, it's a fantastic fight. I'm very looking forward to it. And I want to talk about FCC, your relationship. I know you fought under him a few times in the amateur scene, and now once in pro. How has that been? Obviously, the relationship between you two, and obviously how you're going to look in the future.
You know, FCC's always been really good to me. It's probably been the best show that's treated me in the UK. You know, I big shout out to Adam Tay and all the team behind him and his family. You know, they took me in, and they done the same with my coach Kyle Keane when he was fighting for him. So he's just looked after me, and to be fair to him, he's had a nightmare trying to get me fights, because I think for me pro debut, before I was going to go pro, I was trying to get another fight at 66 or amateur for the last one. And I think I had around 18 pullouts in 8 days. So it was very, very tough for him. And I'm happy that he's put the work in, and he's stayed patient with me, and he's got me them fights. So, a big, massive thank you to FCC.
And obviously the big part about FTC recently getting that, the UFC Fight Pass deal, fantastic deal. And more importantly, what that does is it brings more eyeballs on yourself. Obviously, how does that feel, fighting on, a fantastic platform, stage like UFC Fight Pass?
It's especially to make me pro debut on it. It was a big thing for me, and I think it was quite crazy when I come home after the fight, and it was just me and my dad in the kitchen, and it was quite late, and he was like, "Do you want to put the fight back on?" And I was like, "How can we get it? It's not released yet on YouTube." And he was like, "Nah, I just logged in on this UFC Fight Pass, and we just rewinded it." And it was quite like surreal moment, and it was like a little stepping stone and goal achieved for me. So I was really happy with it.
Yeah, absolutely. The good thing about this is you're going to get more eyeballs on yourself. That's a platform that's going to help you grow, let's say as a brand, because ultimately you're a brand. You're trying to promote yourself and, advertise yourself to get to the top. So ultimately you're going to get more eyeballs on yourself. So people are going to see you. And as you mentioned, it's just easier for everyone to watch it. It's a fantastic deal.
It is, definitely, especially if people can't make it, and you're like, well, how do I buy the stream? Well, don't just log in on UFC Fight Pass and, click live, and it'll pop up there, FCC, and you just know me times, because I always post it all over social media, so make sure to just click on it then. So it's a lot easier for me as well if friends and family can't make it.
And my last question I have for you, why do they call you the Pink Panther? Let everyone know, the fans that are watching, the viewers that are watching that maybe haven't seen you before. Why is it the Pink Panther?
So the Pink Panther originally come from another podcast called Super Necessary, a lad called Kieran. We were on the podcast, and I didn't have a nickname at the minute. When I was a kid, they used to call me the Big Deal, and that was my nickname. And then I sort of just pulled away from it because I wanted to start, you know, my amateur career, and I wanted something new that I was able to sell myself with. And for like of Israel Adesanya and stuff like that, they have their where he dances and stuff like that. I wanted something like that, and I love, you know, I think the first time I come out in my pink shorts was for the Marlon Jones fight, and I was looking for new fight shorts, and my dad said, "Yeah, you won't come out in these hot pink ones," and I just said, "Yeah, won't I?" And from there, it was game on, and as soon as I put the pink shorts on it just felt natural, and yeah, I've never changed it since. Got the pink top, and obviously I have my own little bobble, and from there the Pink Panther come through.
And now look, it's flourishing. It's kind of, you know, your brand. It's like you are the Pink Panther. So credits are super necessary. You know, they've done a lot, haven't they? And you can obviously now bring out merchandise. I know you've got merchandise, and you can bring it out, and it just works.
Yeah. So like, obviously, I've got some more merch coming soon. I think that'll be in the future. And I know some people have got some of it now, but like, it's just something that I can just expand on. Like, I come out with, and I have my own little thing that I like to do. I always like to come out with a new fresh pair of shoes on as a fight, and a new pair of shoes that I haven't walked out in. So I think your next pair are probably going to be the best pair. Yeah.
So you've had 9 amateurs fights, and you've had 1 pro fight. So that's 10 new pair of shoes.
I've got well more than that. I think I've just got over. I've got a bad shoe fetish, so I think I've got just over 30 pairs of shoes. It's stupid. It's stupid. Half of them don't even get. No, I'd say probably out of the 30 pairs, 4 pairs get worn, and one.
Favorite pair of shoes?
I've got. They're probably my top 2. I've got a pair of pink Air Force. I like them at the minute.
Pink?
Or yeah, like full pink. But like,
go on. Where did you get them? Let's have a see.
See, I can't show you them ones because they're the next pair that I'm walking out in. But let me. I think I've got another pair that my sponsor got me of electric.
Yeah.
Nike Air Max Auto 70, and they were like probably. Can you spin the camera around on this? No.
I'm not too sure.
So they're actually electrical, and like they're molded into my feet, so I don't have to like tie them or not. And if I can, I can go that way.
That's unreal. Shout out to that sponsor, bloody hell.
Yeah, but I've just got stacks and stacks, and I've got about 5-6 pairs in the shoe box that haven't even been opened yet. So I'm very, very addicted to my shoes, but that definitely comes from my dad's fault because he's the same.
I'll message you after. You're gonna have to send me a picture of them pink Air Forces. I promise it won't go anywhere. But I would love to see.
I'll send you them there. I'd
love to know where you got them from as well, because you don't really see them in JD Sports or Nike or anything like that.
I think I got them in I think they were rather Foot Locker or Foot Asylum. One of the two.
Maybe Foot Asylum would make sense, yeah.
Yeah, and then I also got another white and pink pair of Air Force. So I've got quite a lot of pink shoes. To be fair, I like bright colours.
Makes sense. Pink Panther. But I appreciate your time, Kurtis. It's an absolute pleasure. I mean, I know we've got a few months now until fight day, but I'm really looking forward to it. I think you're a fantastic prospect. You showed it in your amateur career. I mean, you showed it in your professional debut. I mean, you've got a long way to come, and I think this is a start, and I feel like we're going to see you, your name up in these headlines in the next few years to come.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to have me on. Thank you.
And absolutely. I appreciate your time. Wish you best luck. Have a good rest of your day, and hopefully I'll catch you soon.
Hopefully I'll catch you soon. Thank you.